The defending champion Kansas City Chiefs aim for an unprecedented third straight Super Bowl. But the Texans are ready.
Only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York team has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Carlos Alcaraz has won the last 2 Grand Slam titles at the French Open on the clay and at Wimbledon earlier this summer. He enters as the favorite.
You have a bunch of depth there. Francis Tiafoe, Ben Shelton, they will likely play in round 3. The winner would play Djokovic most likely, which would be an incredible match. I like Ben Shelton as a sleeper. If Djokovic is hurt, you never know. I think Shelton's actually be the guy that gets hot. The conditions favor him.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared.
And welcome in. It's InGame Live Game Day on a fabulous Friday, a football Friday. Scott Wetzel along with Dave Sharapan for the next 2 glorious hours. Maybe a football Friday, but we're going to talk some baseball as the rich get richer. NBA, Charlotte tries to do something it hasn't done in 2.5 years. Hockey, we got one of the best versus one of the best in the East and one of the best in the West. Squaring off today. Opposite picks coming up in about an hour and a half. SGPs, Black Clouds. The whole kit and caboodle, great guests for the next 2 hours. What's going on, Dave? How are you tonight?
Oh, everything's fine. You mentioned it. The Dodgers, the rich get richer. I was going to come on and Dodger stuff. And right before the show, my wife looked at me before she took the little one to volleyball practice and said, "Why are you wearing baseball stuff? It's the biggest football weekend of the entire year. You've been talking about these games all week, and you're going to wear baseball stuff right now?" And I said, you know what? Sometimes you got to listen to the wife. They're right. I said, let's go. Wardrobe change right before. Detroit Lions, big favorite Saturday. The blue looks good. I mean, why not? So I'm good, man. It's all good.
All right. You know what? I know it is a football Friday, and obviously we'll get to all the stuff, including maybe the national championship game Monday night. But how about baseball? I mean, the rich get richer, right? And I bring it up just because we know we got over-unders coming out as well with the Dodgers. So this guy, and now listen, I can give you 10 examples of guys who were supposed to be great that came over from Japanese and weren't. We've had some successful ones recently. Who knows about this dude? But it is just like, I can see the baseball fan just saying, oh, the Dodgers are going to win 150 games this year. Well, what's the point? It's rigged, Why even worry about it? So
there it is. But there's my tweet right there. I just tweeted that out before the show. The first thing I did when I saw the signing was I said, geez, what's the number? So in my head, it's 103. I mean, that was before this. And now the places I looked, it was 105. They're 3-1 to win the World Series. Today is January 17th. They're 3-1. I mean, that defines what baseball is right now, bro. Vinny, do you have the Mets stinger handy? Like anything? We used to be a Mets show.
Now.
But I was going to say we're going to need it, because we're going to need maybe new Dodgers graphics and all these things. I'll ask you this. So, Vecchio just asked me a great question on game time decisions. Would you bet against the Dodgers every game and think that you're going to net return? Because you're going to get some big prices. I mean, there's going to be nights, like he said, when Blake Snell's pitching at home against the Rockies, and he's minus 350. The take back will be plus 270, something like that. Would you bet against the Dodgers every game for 162?
No, we did this last year. We figured it all out. Now, we didn't do last year's numbers, but last year it was a 104.5. And what they ended up with 98 wins, they didn't get to 100 wins. So you probably would have won money last year. But we looked at this over the last several years, and basically you would have won money if you bet on the Dodgers. Not a lot. I think you and I reasoned the average line was like minus 170 or so. But they did hit their totals. They won 105, 104, 106, whatever it would be, games. So it's pretty close. I'd rather bet on than bet against them. But you'd have to bet into crazy numbers. But there's somewhere along the line there's going to be a 2 or 3 or 4 game losing streak. You're going to be pulling your hair out. But what's their season total? 105.5? Is that what you said?
It's 105 right now. It's 105? In Vegas. It's 105. And I mean, if there's 162 games, how many games are they dogs? How many games? Like less than 20 games that they're actually pre-game underdogs. With that, signing him makes it a 6-man rotation. If they keep a 6-man rotation, if Ohtani pitches, comes back at all even close to what he was, just throw him in there. They're not going to, they have a legitimate shot to win 115 games. So betting against them, while be it, nice prices and pluses, it's a lot of losing. And we had a guy do it the year the Phillies won 109 games. He said, I'm betting against the Phillies every game. By August, he was such a defeated guy. He had to walk into the book. He said, I'm going to bet $100 every game against the Phillies. And he would have these great prices. You have to be willing to lose 2/3 or more of your bets. So I don't know if hitting 33% is worth it.
Yeah, because how many times in those games are they going to be 3-1 favorites and lose? Like, there's got to be some matchups on the road, bottom of the rotation versus the other team's ace, and it's going to be close to pick 'em. It just will. They're going to lose those games. You need to have the Dodgers lose 20 to 30 games in which they're 3-1 favorites in order to really make up all the times you're going to lose.
Right.
But I will say this, putting it into perspective, right? Mm-hmm. Baseball right now, Dodgers FanDuel anyway has them at plus 310, right? Let me just go to my baseball page. What the hell do I do with it? There it is. So Dodgers plus 310, right? Crazy number, ridiculously low, right? But putting it into perspective, Boston Celtics to win the NBA championship right now, plus 220. Detroit Lions to win the NFL, the Super Bowl, plus 290. So I give a better chance of the Dodgers not winning or the Celtics not winning than I do the Dodgers not winning. I think Detroit could easily not win the Super Bowl. I think the Celtics could easily not win the NBA championship. I don't know about the Dodgers not winning. I know it's a best of 7, and anything can happen. Best of 7, they can win 130 games and still not have things work out. Best of 7, but man, unless the Mets get Vlad Guerrero and they add some guys.
Don't get Vinny excited. Don't even mention it. Please don't mention the Mets and anything.
They would be the one team that might go mano a mano with the Dodgers.
The Lions got to win 3 games to win, and the price is just slightly less. They only got to win 3 games, right? And they're a 10-point favorite at home, and 2 of them at home, and the third one in the dome. So that's the difference. The Dodgers got to play 162, and then, by the way, hopefully for them, they get a bye. Then they got to win a 5-game series, a 7-game series, and another 7-game series, all in high leverage situations. It's hard to for me to believe that it's only 3-1. But again, who else is there to bet on? That's the thing. When you look at the World Series odds, there's other options, but man, it feels like the prices should be double digits for everybody else. I mean, we need to go find some Padre money. We need to go find some. Who in the world is going to bet a team in the NL Central? I mean, who's going to bet a team in the NL Central to win the pennant? Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking NL first, like Mets, Phillies, Padres.
Yeah. Right. That's it.
That's it.
What happens?
Braves?
All right,
Braves. I didn't say Braves. Braves.
Should we say
Braves, Phillies?
Yeah, we said Braves, Phillies.
Right.
Oh, and Mets.
And then,
Braves, Phillies, Mets, and then Padres.
And Padres. Legitimate shots.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So when we have these lines come out in January and the season doesn't even begin until April, let alone end, right? So there's got to be a reason why we bet plus 310 now. So my question to you is, let's say the Dodgers win, 105, 110 games, and they're as good as we all think. What's their number going to be come heading into the playoffs? What do you think it would be?
The same.
50? How low could it go?
It's only going to drop a couple. Yeah, it's only. If it's plus 310 right now, it might be plus 275. Oh, it's definitely not worth doing right now. No way.
Right?
No. You got to hope they get off to a slow start in April.
Hurt.
Maybe you get a 4-1.
If you're lucky. All right, InGame Live just underway right here on the grid.
This Sunday, the Rams carry the weight of their city when they face the Eagles. Then it's a clash of MVP caliber quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. SportsGrid has you covered all day, starting at 8 a.m. with FST for daily fantasy lineups. Lock in your picks with Pro Football Today and stay dialed in with real-time betting on InGame Live Game Day, only on SportsGrid.
Talk about it failing and always putting the square peg into the round hole. We're going to run it. We're going to try and play these lower scoring games. They didn't score over 17 points in the 5 straight losses.
There's a chance for the Ravens to exercise every single demon on their way to a Super Bowl. But it also means the path is very difficult and things are only getting started.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
If I were that team and I was the coach, I would have just said, you know what? I'm leaving your ass at home and you can wait. Well, you can get your own damn plane and fly it to Philadelphia, and then I'll still sit your ass. Zion's got to get himself together on the court, both physically but mentally, by being engaged and being on time.
Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back InGame Live Game Day here on the grid on a fabulous Friday, just getting underway. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan until 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We got opposite picks coming up in about an hour and 15 minutes or so. We got Cam Stewart, Colby Dan, Tommy Lorenzo. Plenty of things to get to over the next hour and change here. We'll start, we talked a little baseball there, so let's flip over to NBA. Decent little slate of hockey or NBA games tonight, Dave. I did like the Celtics. We kind of talked about that yesterday. Coming off that loss, it was 11.5 last night. went all the way up to 14.5 today, I saw on FanDuel, and they're leading by 12 against the Magic. Did like their team total, too. I figured they'd come out flying. They put 66 on the board, lead 66-54 at the half. Their team total was right around 115 or so, so it's looking halfway decent there. Knicks and Teacups at Madison Square Garden. They got Cat going. I'll check the schedule. I don't know if they played earlier this year. I think one time in Minnesota. But Karl Anthony Towns now with the Knicks, plays his former team. Randall back in town for the Teacups, so that's a pretty good one. Knicks trailing by 6, 38-32. And then the others just getting underway.
We got to get to the Black Cloud play of the night. You got to tee that one up right now because that game's getting ready to tip. Don't forget.
Yes.
All right, boys, get it ready.
It's good we forgot because you get a better line here. That's right, boys. My bad. This is an 8:10 start, so it's just underway. So if we could cue that up, let us do that now because sometimes and this is one of those rare nights where we just don't have that much starting after 8:50 or so when we normally do the Black Cloud. So with that said, let us do our Black Cloud. And this was one of those funky lines. I think if I asked 10 gamblers, give me the dopiest line tonight, I think all 10 would say this line. And that's heading out to Chicago, where the Chicago Bulls, not great, but 4 or 5 games under 500, hosted the biggest waste of human flesh east of the Mississippi in an NBA uniform, the Charlotte Bobcat Hornets. And Chicago is only a 4.5, 5-point underdog tonight. I don't get that at all. Chicago has beaten up on Charlotte, as everyone has. They're 14-2, straight up and against the spread, against the Hornets, their last 16 meetings. Charlotte is 1-16 last 17 games against the Eastern Conference. They won their last game. You got to go back to 2 seasons ago. Not even this year. Forget about last. You got to go back to 2 seasons ago to find the last time Charlotte has won back-to-back road games. That's how inept this team is, and yet they're only a 4.5-point road dog. We've had a great week with the Black Cloud. We really have. So I'm going to buy into Dave a bad line. Give me the Bulls. They're down 13-6. It's down to 2.5 right now, so you can get even a better line. Basically, all you need is Chicago to win. Give me the Bulls laying the 2.5. Black Cloud.
I'll have Vinny cue it right now. Vinny, hit the Black Cloud stinger. I love that thing. There it is.
We
Black
make
Cloud
it official.
-5 pregame. In game, it's 2.5. Like you said right now. Go Bulls. Yeah. I mean, you really got to be a fan of basketball if you're really getting involved in this game, Wetzel. I got to tell you. I mean, it's just a bad basketball
Why
team.
the love
Bulls
for the Hornets lately? They were 5-point road favorites the other night, and they did win, and they won by 5. And in fact, I think it went up to like 5.5, 6. But but what were they doing being 5-point road favorites, and now they're only 4.5-point road underdogs? The Charlotte Hornets all of a sudden are going to turn into a real team?
9-28, 14th in the Eastern Conference, while the Bulls are 18-23, which is good for 10th in the East. Wow, the Bulls would actually make the play-in if the season ended right now. Sometimes there's head scratchers. Sometimes there's lines you just don't understand. And, I mean, obviously we'll wait and see the rest of the way. I don't know. I have no real good explanation, but I can't believe of all the games, why did you get involved in this one?
Well, because we looked at Charlotte last game, and they were able to win either with a push or maybe you, like you said, if you got that 5.5, you lost, or won if you got the other side, and it just like jumped off the page. It's like it's Charlotte. It's they're battling Washington. It's the second worst record in the NBA. We're getting to the point of the season, the midway point, where it's like, do we really want to win anymore? I mean, what are we going to accomplish at this point? Outside of blowing the number 1, or at least, big pong balls for the chance for the number 1 overall pick, which we all know will end up being Cooper Flagg, I imagine, with the Dookie Pukies. So, and now they're only 4.5-point dog. When I do my trends, because, we touch on all the games, so I try and just, I won't do as much research for, Charlotte and Chicago as I would, Denver versus Minnesota. But, these things just jump off the page. It's like, whoa, they're only a 4.5-point dog.
I mean, I love to put these listening glasses on to listen and hear things. I need the glasses that makes this game jump off the page. I mean, you got like Superman X-ray vision to have this one jump off the page. It's impressive.
14-2 straight up and against the spread for Chicago against Charlotte. That's what makes it jump off the page. That
jumps off the page. But now you got a good game at like Oklahoma City at Dallas coming up.
Yeah.
And what would you do that for? That's the Wetzel.
Because some gamblers break down the X's and the O's, and I hear guys say, I had this team as a 4.5-point favorite, not 3.5. Like, okay, whatever. I mean, God bless you if you can do that stuff. I don't do that stuff. I just don't.
No.
I see who's playing, who's not playing, and does the head coach, is he an idiot? Those are my basically top three, right?
Oh.
And psychologically, I look at teams psychologically. Okay,
really?
Don't laugh. Yes, I am a master
I'm laughing at you looking at the coaches, your coaching standards. But no, I didn't know that. I mean, did you stay at a Holiday Inn last night? You're a psychologist as well. You looking at this?
I took Logic 101 in college as one of my electives. So I'm an expert in logic.
New every day.
So,
this is great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So OKC, what did OKC do last night? They beat Cleveland in the game of the year. Letdown spot, though. Letdown spot, though.
This Sunday, the Rams carry the weight of their city when they face the Eagles. Then it's a clash of MVP caliber quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. SportsGrid has you covered all day, starting at 8 a.m. with FST for daily fantasy lineups. Lock in your picks with Pro Football Today and stay dialed in with real-time betting on InGame Live Game Day, only on SportsGrid.
Talk about it failing and always putting the square peg into the round hole. We're going to run it. We're going to try and play these lower scoring games. They didn't score over 17 points in the 5 straight losses.
There's a chance for the Ravens to exercise every single demon on their way to a Super Bowl. But it also means the path is very difficult and things are only getting started.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
If I were that team and I was the coach, I would have just said, you know what? I'm leaving your ass at home, and you can wait. Well, you can get your own damn plane and fly it to Philadelphia, and then I'll still sit your ass. Zion's got to get himself together on the court, both physically, but mentally by being engaged and being on time.
Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Dave for the next hour and a half or so. Taking you to 10 p.m. Eastern time. Got great guests. We got a little football talk, obviously. We got some hockey. We got some college basketball. Not a lot. Full slate of NBA, so a good chance to peek in on the weekend stuff, including tonight what we have, little SGP, same game parlay time. All right, let's head to the basketball courts, where we're going to take on the Memphis Grizzlies versus the San Antonio Spurs. Usually a game I would stay away because the psychological genius that I am, I don't like playing on teams that play back-to-back, right? But in this case, we're going to make the exception, Dave, because Memphis just beat the San Antonio Spurs the other day. This is one of those weird NBA back-to-backs where you're not going back to Memphis. They're playing both games in San Antonio. And God forbid they should actually play back-to-back nights. They actually had a day off. So Memphis wins by double digit the other night. So why are we playing Memphis again, right? Because the whole world tonight is playing San Antonio. No, this is where the psychology comes into play. Memphis has beaten the snot out of the Spurs. How about 15 of their last 16 meetings now? 15-1. I don't care if they play 5 straight days on the moon. I'm playing Memphis against San Antonio, including 11-1 at San Antonio. And all the dopey Spurs after their loss Wednesday, oh, yeah, we played them well. We're going to go get them next game. Yeah, sure, fellas. You keep on saying that. So give me Memphis minus the 2. Going to grab Ja Morant, 20 points. This is just to kind of boost the price up. He's going to get that by the first half. 4 assists is minus 18-1. Same thing. He'll have that by halftime. Victor Wembanyama, psychology here, okay? He played one of his worst games of the season last time. Only 13 points the other night. He's better than that. So let me go with his actual total, which is 24.5, 25 points, minus 135. Give me a double-double, minus 3-1. He averages almost 11 rebounds. And then give me Chris Paul, 4 assists. He'll get that. That's minus 3,000. That's just, again, just to boost it up. So in the end, Memphis, Morant, points and assists. Wembanyama, points, double-double. Chris Paul, assists, pays 5.5, basically, plus 530 you see there to 1. Not bad. Not great, but not bad.
No, basically you took a pick'em game and you're somehow getting 5-1. I don't think any one of those other props are going to lose. So you just got to beat the Spurs. I mean, you know, if somebody did this parlay, they could then take the Spurs on the money line at any point when they were down at a bigger plus price, and you'd be fine. If you can even try to get a middle. I don't know. These back-to-backs where they stay in the city and there's a day off in between, I think I'm with you. I'm not really a psychologist, but I kind of am because I'm a parent and a brother, and I sat in a sports book in Vegas for, you know, almost 20 years in addition to some time offshore. So you hear a lot and you listen a lot. I like the team that won the first game in a smaller spread game. So unless somebody's not playing, which we always have to check in the NBA, I think I'm with you with this one. Listen, you've been rolling all week. I mean, the same game parlay hit, I think, twice this week. The black cloud is, I don't even want to say it out loud, but we're on a good streak, not a bad streak with that. So yeah, that's looking good. I mean, the Bulls were already winning. It didn't take long. I mean, you were talking about the Bulls. Yeah, the Bulls are already winning, just like that.
Wow.
So we're back. That's fine. Oh, no, they flipped it now. He's made a 3, 21-17. Okay.
Yeah. We got that in three scenarios this weekend. That's one angle I haven't heard anyone really bring up, surprisingly enough. We got 3 rematches in the NFL this weekend. So.
Oh, yeah.
I looked it up.
I
didn't look it up, but I found a site that had it. So rematch teams. Teams that won the first game. They've met 66 times. 42 and 24 straight up. I'll let you guess who's on which side. In the rematch, one team is 42 and 24 straight up, 35, 29 and 2 against the spread. You think that's the team that won or lost? Team that won, yeah.
I think it's the team that won the first game. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's reflected in the lines. Yeah, I think you're right. I got this one from a friend in the industry. You know him, Mark Lawrence.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We'll give it to you after the break. How about that?
Call the team. Great friend. We're back. InGame Live.
This Sunday, the Rams carry the weight of their city when they face the Eagles. Then it's a clash of MVP caliber quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. SportsGrid has you covered all day, starting at 8 a.m. with FST for daily fantasy lineups. Lock in your picks with Pro Football Today and stay dialed in with real-time betting on in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
Talk about it failing and always putting the square peg into the round hole. We're going to run it. We're going to try and play these lower scoring games. They didn't score over 17 points in the 5 straight losses.
There's a chance for the Ravens to exercise every single demon on their way to a Super Bowl. But it also means the path is very difficult and things are only getting started.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
If I were that team and I was the coach, I would have just said, you know what? I'm leaving your ass at home, and you can wait. Well, you can get your own damn plane and fly it to Philadelphia, and then I'll still sit your ass. Zion's got to get himself together on the court, both physically, but mentally by being engaged and being on time.
Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live game day here on the grid. Scott and Dave until 10 p.m. Eastern time. Got a full boat of slates tomorrow with college basketball. And then we got obviously the college football championship game Monday night. So what better guy to talk a little college hoops? Got a couple of games tonight, including Iowa UCLA. Get some thoughts from Colby Dant. Check out his podcast, the College Experience Podcast. What's going on, Colby? How are you tonight, bud?
I am great. We got just a loaded college slate tonight, tomorrow. Well, I mean, a little bit tonight, mainly tomorrow, but then, the Natty, which we've been waiting for a long time. And I know you're excited, Scott, because your boys are in it. So I'm curious to see what you've played already.
I have, I actually got, believe it or not, odds on Notre Dame for the beginning of the year and Ohio State. So I'm I got less money on Notre Dame, but I got them at 22-1. So I'm going to win more versus Ohio State. So I'm in the middle. It's really like the ideal position, to tell you the truth, Cole.
Yeah. I mean, what a magical run. I feel like, if they were healthier, I feel like they would do you think they have a legit shot to win this game right now?
No. I'd like to say yes, but no. I've been saying it from the beginning. Somewhere along the line, you're going to have to throw the football for 250 yards to win a championship. They've been able to avoid that so far. Riley Leonard's looked a lot better than what he has, but ultimately, no, I really don't. I see this one. I don't know if they're going to get blown out, but I do think Ohio State wins by double digits. I think they cover. What about you?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they just. I would love to see this game. It's the third year in a row that we're playing each other. They did a home and home the past 2 years, but if they just had their health, their best corner was projected first round draft pick out for the year. One of their best defensive linemen, if not their best defensive lineman, out for the rest of the season. You're on your third string left tackle. Your guard's a little dinged up. Your running back, Jeremiah Love's a little dinged up. It's just Bo Collins, the wide receiver from Clemson that transferred in, is a game time decision. It's just a lot of intangibles there, which makes me think you just got to load up on the Buckeyes, especially because their defensive line, I think, is the best in football. And if you have an offensive line, Notre Dame just does such a great job recruiting that position, but third string left tackle going up against the bestie line, I got to take Ohio State. And I think they win by double digits as well.
I'm going to give you a two-part question because there's really only one game that I'm even remotely looking at tonight. Iowa at UCLA. You're out in LA, giving us a little bit of on-the-ground reports of what's going on with the fires and stuff. It's absolutely crazy to think about. But that's the game tonight, UCLA hosting Iowa. So I'll let you tackle that one first. But I'm really curious what you're thinking with Alabama and Kentucky tomorrow, because that is the highest total of the season, basketball-wise. And I really don't know who's going to win. So I'm very curious what you think, Cole. Start with that Iowa-UCLA game and then morph into that other one.
Yeah, you've heard, I don't know if you've been paying attention, Mick Cronin has been blaming the travel schedule. A lot of mileage by the Bruins. Surprise, surprise, guys! Right? The mileage is a factor when you join a conference with Rutgers in it.
And Maryland.
Yeah, I just think it's been tough sailing. Like, I get it, but at the same time, he's called out his team. Yeah, I love his ego to mention I already got 500 wins in my life. Don't worry about it, right? But okay, buddy, whatever, But Iowa, on the other side of this, Iowa has to go to the West. They've been terrible on the road this year. I think this is finally the spot for UCLA after a few game skid here. I think they're going to get up. I like laying that number against the Hawkeyes, who just they lack athleticism more than normal. I mean, they're never super athletic, but specifically this team, I think, is a little less athletic than the Garza teams of the past. So I like the Bruins to finally get that wake up call here, laying that number.
Let me ask you real quickly. Stanford is kind of doing a similar thing. I used them in the opposite pick segment that I got coming up in about an hour. They played Wake Forest on, I want to say Tuesday or Wednesday, probably Wednesday. Their game against North Carolina is Saturday. They didn't fly back home. Like these West Coast teams in these goofy conferences, that's a big spread. I mean, you got to fly in, maybe Wednesday morning, I suppose, to play Wake Forest Wednesday night. Then you hang out Thursday, hang out Friday, play Saturday. Is that how these teams are doing it, Colby?
Yes.
Yeah, and actually, it's something that we've highlighted on our show on SGPN. Is the fact that the second game has normally been a good spot, with the exception of UCLA against Rutgers because they lost to Maryland, then Rutgers. But the second game for a lot of teams, we saw Virginia Tech win at Cal as a pretty decent dog the other night. The second game, after they're there for a little bit and adapt to that time zone, I think is a good angle to potentially jump on, some big time dogs. You're seeing it with Cal. I think Cal's at Wake Forest tomorrow or Sunday, and then Stanford's at Carolina. Those two teams got smoked in the first game.
Right.
So maybe a spot to jump on those two, but that's something I've been paying attention to. This is our first year of learning about that, really. So the second seems to be a little bit of an edge for these teams traveling 3,000 miles.
What about Alabama,
Without
Kentucky?
a doubt. Yeah, Alabama, Kentucky. Look at that total, Cole.
Yeah, and both teams, the total's insane. The total is absolutely insane, but I gotta just take the under on general principle. I like a general principle. I just gotta say, okay, this is a huge game. Rupp Arena too is like a landmark arena. I feel like this is one you dream about as a kid. So I like to think you're just naturally a little more nervous going into a game on the road there at Rupp. So give me the under in that game. But as far as the actual game, I'm fascinated by it. I think Kentucky is the play, but you're getting crimson. I didn't have Alabama losing to Ole Miss outright. So now they're in a little bit more of a desperate spot. If you want to, be the top seed in the SEC tournament come late February, early March. So the game is a little bit bigger than I thought it was going to be. I think Kentucky, though, with Pope and the momentum of that crowd behind them, and if I'm Pope, I'm going to try to slow Alabama down a little bit. Chris Beard did a great job of making them feel uncomfortable. That's how he won in Tuscaloosa. Great defense, and then just offensively bleed out that clock, make them feel a little uncomfortable. And I think that'll be the key. Even though that's not really Kentucky's game, I just think you got a blueprint right there of how to beat Alabama, make them feel uncomfortable. But the momentum of that crowd with Big Blue Nation behind there, I'm going to lay the points.
How about Duke, Boston College?
I'll lay it with Duke there. BC has been a mess. I expect them to move on from Earl Grant after the season. Duke is actually, this is probably the best Duke team in the past 4 or 5 years. I know they're a little young, but they're playing defense at a much better level. They're passing the ball. They're able to hit the open shots. I think this is the best Duke team, since that Coach K Final Four where they lost to Carolina.
It's crazy because Scott calls them the Dookie Pukies every time when we preview the game. We'll just not give them the respect like that. The number one team in the country, Auburn, laying almost 7 at Georgia. I don't know. Georgia has been an under team, and they played the other night against Tennessee. You got a side or a total in 15 seconds.
Yeah, I like Georgia. Johnny Broom's out for Auburn. They're away from the jungle. Another one I like is West Virginia against Iowa State.
Ooh, I like that too. I think they can win outright. Good little spot for them. Coming off a bad performance and a good performance the other way around. Colby, great job as always. Check out his great podcast, The College Experience. Colby, we'll do it again soon. Good luck to your pick this week.
Appreciate it, guys. Always a pleasure.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. InGame Live Game Day here on the Grid. Thanks again, Colby Dan. Check out his podcast, the College Experience Podcast. That's your favorite little podcast homes. So with that, we got a full slate of college basketball tomorrow. We got some today. We'll keep a peek on. We got NBA, get a little NHL, but obviously it is a football Friday, Dave. So we teased it before. Give me the great trend pertaining to a little NFL action this weekend that you have.
Yeah, this is sent from my buddy Stormin Norman, who's also a friend of someone you know as well as I know. This comes from Mark Lawrence. He said to make sure that Mark got credit for it, but this is exactly the type of trend that Scott would like. Now, be ready here.
Okay.
The Ravens have won the Super Bowl every 12 years this century. 2001, 2013, and both title-winning teams were led by 28-year-old quarterbacks, being Trent Dilfer and Joe Flacco. It's been 12 years since Baltimore hoisted the Lombardi Trophy, and guess what? Lamar Jackson is 28 years old.
That
I
sounds
mean,
like a
how
Mark
do you come
Lawrence.
up with all that?
That sounds like a Mark Lawrence thing for sure.
Right?
That's cute. I don't think I would necessarily bet because of that, but if it turns out that way, then that is kind of interesting. That is for sure. Listen, it wouldn't shock me if they won, right?
Wouldn't
it's
shock
not
me
like you're
either.
saying Washington. So
right, it
that
would
is kind
not
of
shock
weird.
me either, but find that out like that every 12 years. I mean, it's sounds like a psychology experiment, Mr. Psychologist.
Yeah.
I had no idea that you had that in your back pocket. I had no idea that if in your tool belt you were a psychologist as well as everything else. I'm impressed.
Yes. Yeah. I am a master of all trades. I got it all. You'd be surprised. I would be more inclined to bet this in 2037 than I would be 2025. Like if it happens three times like this, okay. If we're all around, knock on wood, 2037, we're betting the Ravens. If I can get a future on that right now, if they win the Super Bowl this year, I'll call my local Louis DeLip and say, hey, listen, can I put a bet in for 2037? See what he says. Give me the Ravens. Pick some number, 20-1, 30-1. I don't care. I'm betting the Ravens. So I do think they win this weekend, though. I do. I don't know
if Louis doesn't answer the phone, let me know because I'll hold it in a safe place for you, and you can have the wager. That would be fine if you want to bet something in. Would you say 2037?
Well,
do you think we'll still be doing this show in 2037? Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
As long as there's going to be gambling, that's for darn sure. So,
is there
12 years from now? Oh yeah,
the way things are going.
Oh,
I mean, I guess I don't know. All right, that's fine.
I don't know if there'll be sports or not, but they'll be gambling on something. Here's the key: 21 points is the key. Do you think Baltimore's going to score 21 points against Buffalo Sunday?
Yes, I think the game's going over. So 30 to 24, 30 to 27. Why? What does that have to do with it?
Buffalo, when they give up 21 points or more, 4-22 against the spread since 2022.
That's not good at all.
That tells you they don't win shootouts. Simple as that.
Right.
So if you think it's going to be a shootout, if you think it's going to be a high score, I'm a little surprised with that number. That would incorporate 40 to 24, blowout victories. But no. I'd like to know what their straight up record is. Some of these sites give these stats, and you say to yourself, "What's the straight up record, though?" You got to balance it out, to give me a good perspective. Are they losing these games? Like the Chargers, I have that for. With 24 is the magic number with the Chargers. It's an amazing split on how they don't win games when teams score more than 24 points. But I don't have the straight up number. But this is actually, more than likely you'd lose the game. So, and I think Baltimore scores 21 too. So I think Baltimore wins. I think there's a reason why they're a 1.5 point favorite, right? That tells you, well, obviously, what would, if this game was in Baltimore, I know it was 3 earlier this season, but knowing what we know now, would they be a 3.5 point home favorite? 4 if this was in Baltimore?
I don't know if I want to give them 4. You could convince me 3.5, for sure 3. That was the first number that popped into my head, was 3. If it was, it would have to be more. If they're favored in Buffalo, they'd have to be over 3. I don't know. We'd have to find a number that somebody would willingly take Buffalo. And I don't know what that number would be off the top of my head. I think they would take 4.5. So maybe we get to 4, the way you just put that out there. We don't have to worry about that. But what if – does this game get played differently if Houston beats Kansas City on Saturday and the winner of this game is hosting the AFC Championship? Does it change anything for you? Because like a lot of people have been talking to all week, I mean, they're saying this is the dog. Houston is the dog that could win outright. Not only cover, but win outright in Kansas City, because Kansas City hasn't been impressive all season. You know what that means, right? This one feels like the public dog. This one may get smoked, right?
Yeah. To say Kansas City 34-10. You know, I mean, they beat them pretty handily a few weeks ago in a game I thought was going to be close. And it really, you know, I don't know why. You know, Mahomes is going to be healthy. Right.
Yeah, Mahomes was gimping. He had a bad ankle against Houston in that game.
And they still won by 8 points going away, really.
Right.
Now, the only thing is rust. I mean, he hasn't played in nearly a month. You consider the week off, you know, with the bye. Then he didn't play the week before against Denver. So then you got to go back the preceding week before he actually played. Then maybe not a month. But he's had 3 solid weeks off. But I wouldn't even be concerned with rust. You know?
He looked pretty good in Pittsburgh the last time he played.
Yeah. So
he passed the ball over the field on Christmas. That was a tough one. Yeah. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. Which fan base, we'll talk about it, which fan base would suffer a worst the most? Buffalo, Baltimore, or probably Detroit would be the top. We'll talk about this back.
This Sunday, the Rams carry the weight of their city when they face the Eagles. Then it's a clash of MVP caliber quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. SportsGrid has you covered all day, starting at 8 a.m. with FST for daily fantasy lineups. Lock in your picks with Pro Football Today and stay dialed in with real-time betting on in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
Talk about it failing and always putting the square peg into the round hole. We're going to run it. We're going to try and play these lower scoring games. They didn't score over 17 points in the 5 straight losses.
There's a chance for the Ravens to exercise every single demon on their way to a Super Bowl. But it also means the path is very difficult and things are only getting started.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
If I were that team and I was the coach, I would have just said, you know what? I'm leaving your ass at home, and you can wait. Well, you can get your own damn plane and fly it to Philadelphia, and then I'll still sit your ass. Zion's got to get himself together on the court, both physically, but mentally by being engaged and being on time.
Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live game day here on the grid. Scott and Dave, hour number 1. Normally, we do the Black Cloud in this segment, but we gave it out earlier because it was an earlier start than normal. So it was the Chicago Bulls laying 5 against the Charlotte Hornet Bobcats. Pick a nickname. So right now, Dave, Close game, back and forth. Okay. 63-58, Charlotte leads as they approach 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in the second quarter. Wow, look at the over-under on that one. For a Charlotte game, 251.5. I'm okay with that, though, because if it's Charlotte's MO is to slow it down and play, one, maybe not one, but, 210, 205. Bulls want to run and gun. So they kind of suckered Charlotte in. So I'd like to be leading, but I'm okay 63-60 right now, late second quarter.
In-game total you said is, 250.5. It closed 235.5. So we're way over pace. Let's check Charlotte. Wow, they're shooting 56% from the field, including 44% from three. So, wow. All right, let's go for some. That can't continue. So we get a little regression in the second half, get the Bulls going, and get that Black Cloud play of the night in.
Yeah. You know what I wanted to check and see? I didn't know he was playing. I thought he was going to. I didn't check. Jimmy Butler's point total tonight. So his 7-game suspension is up. So they haven't obviously traded him yet, and I don't know if they will at this point. He has showed no inclination. Now, I know he sent out a picture on Twitter, I'm back, a la Michael Jordan, but he's got 6 points tonight. You know what his line score? His line score is just like, wow. 15 minutes. He's 3 of 6 from the field. He's taken 1 3-pointer, no free throws, no offensive rebounds, no defensive rebounds, no assists, no steals, no blocks, no personal fouls, not even a turnover. I mean, he is just like, I don't want to be here. So I like, again, I don't know what his team total, or I don't know what his point total would have been tonight, but I was going to play the under and fudge, I forgot. Let me see if FanDuel's got it listed, because he clearly wants no part of this basketball game. No part.
Right,
and that's how he's going to force himself. He's 3 of 6, so, but he's not, he's not shooting. They're giving you, what are they giving you? Player points, 16.5. He just hit another shot, I guess. He got 8 points according to this. I don't know if he gets to 6 to 17 points.
I'd have to say over if I was to decide right now. I think he does.
6 points. 16.5 is not a lot, right?
Yeah.
It's an NBA game. You get that by accident.
Did you take a peek at the hockey tonight? There's only 2 games.
Yeah, only 2 games. Nothing really jumped off the page trend-wise. I wrote a couple of notes here. Carolina has beaten Vegas 6 of their last 8, so it's 1-1 right now. They're really good at home, 17-5, but they've lost a couple of games recently. So that's like they were 17-3 or 16-3, something like that. They've lost a few games. And Pittsburgh under, I will say Pittsburgh has beaten Buffalo 14 of their last 20. So this is one of those teams that they like to beat. Who doesn't? Buffalo generally has been pretty bad. And they're leading 3-1. So look at the over-under in the second game there. 3.5. 4.5 after 2. 1-1 Vegas, Carolina.
Watching a game, I think I bet under.
I was going to say, I don't think they're getting 3 games.
It doesn't look like there's getting a lot of high traffic. Let me see what the shots on goal, 21-20. So average night of shots on goal. 0 for 2 in the power play, 0 for 3 in the power play for Carolina. May take a power play to get the next goal. This one definitely feels like an under in game.
Right? Yeah. I don't think they're getting 3 goals. Although, as we saw with the Devils last night, they come fast. That's for sure. But that said, I still don't think, Hockey, I know Saturday night in hockey is big. I get that. But they should have more than just 2 games on a Friday night. Give me like 4 or 5, just a little something. Just
I don't know. I'm good with
else.
being good on certain nights and letting the other nights go to the NBA or college basketball. Just be good on certain nights.
Yeah,
that's all.
I guess. DePaul beating Georgetown by 11 on the road. Georgetown getting 6.5. Late first half. I'll take that right. Yeah.
This Sunday, the Rams carry the weight of their city when they face the Eagles. Then it's a clash of MVP caliber quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. SportsGrid has you covered all day, starting at 8 a.m. with FST for daily fantasy lineups. Lock in your picks with Pro Football Today and stay dialed in with real-time betting on in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
Talk about it failing and always putting the square peg into the round hole. We're going to run it. We're going to try and play these lower scoring games. They didn't score over 17 points in the 5 straight losses.
There's a chance for the Ravens to exercise every single demon on their way to a Super Bowl. But it also means the path is very difficult and things are only getting started.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
If I were that team and I was the coach, I would have just said, you know what? I'm leaving your ass at home, and you can wait. Well, you can get your own damn plane and fly it to Philadelphia, and then I'll still sit your ass. Zion's got to get himself together on the court, both physically, but mentally by being engaged and being on time.
Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. It is in-game live game day here on the grid. Scott and Dave, hour number 2 of our 2-hour extravaganza. We got NBA tonight. We got a little slate of college basketball, 2 games in the NHL, and we're previewing the NFL and a little bit on the college football championship game, which they have on obviously Monday night. So checking out a little college hoops here, Dave. Final seconds, Villanova leads Providence 74-73. Game goes over. Villanova was a solid 6-7 point favorite, so barring overtime, that's not going to happen for them. Ohio State at the half leads Indiana 35-29, laying 9.5 now, over under 141. And as I threw it out there at the break, DePaul about a 6.5 or so 7-point underdog, leading Georgetown at the half 39-28. Georgetown getting 6.5. 139.5 is your number. And then starting here in about 5 minutes, Iowa and UCLA with the UCLA 6.5 point home favorites. Any college basketball interest tonight?
No, you know what? I used to really take off looking at college basketball on Friday night because Saturday, people ask me all the time, what was one of the hardest things or the hardest days in the book? It's never been football. It's always been the January and February Saturdays of college basketball. 150 games, and now they got these added games and extra games and all this other stuff. It's way harder. So I always looked and said, you know what? Friday night, you're old enough to remember. What was Friday night in college basketball? There was one league that played on Friday nights.
Oh, Ivy League. Ivy League.
That's it.
Yeah.
It was you tell kids now, and like it was an Ivy League Friday, and it was a very limited amount of people that bet it. But man, they were good at it. I mean, I'm dating myself back to the mid 90s. You know, we had a guy, we called him Ivy League Phil, and he used to play the games like when I was down in the islands. He was better than any numbers we would put up. I mean, he was just better at it. And then yeah. Oh, he was, I mean, like literally the guy that, they tried to hire him and said, Phil, give us your numbers because they're better than the numbers we're putting up. You're killing us. But you remember they used to play on Saturday as well. It was like a 2-game.
Right.
Deal,
Yes. Back-to-back days. Yes.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
So I looked at the Saturday matchups. I mean, we talked about it with Colby a little bit. Alabama and Kentucky. I don't know. When you see that number, they're playing tomorrow, and the total out here in the desert right now is 180. It's 180 in a college basketball game. And my first thought is over. I don't want under that game. Somebody's scoring 100 points.
There was an Alabama game this year, and I'm going to look at the schedule, that had a similar number, and it went under. Not like way under, but a good 10, 15 points under. Let me see if I can see it and recognize which one it is. Because Alabama's an over team, Kentucky's an over team. Both teams want to run up and down the court. So if it doesn't hit it, it's not because they're not trying. Like, I think Colby said this. I don't agree with this at all. I don't think either team is going to back down and say, all right, we're going to walk the ball up the court. I think it's a mano a mano. Just here you go, boys. Go run up and down the court. Maybe it was the North Carolina one, but that had what'd that have? 170. Yeah, I think it was North Carolina. I think it was like right around 180 or so, and it ended up 94-79, so it went under. Was that the one?
Slightly under. Yes, it was. That was it. It closed 177.5 or 178.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's where that one closed. The SEC, we've talked about it multiple times this week. We talked about it last week. Has been the best conference. Auburn, Georgia tomorrow. That's one I think you got to circle. What about Houston? Like, Houston's playing UCF tomorrow in a game that I want to really like Houston. You see 11.5 and 136.5, which is a relatively low total, big number favorite. Anything jump out to you when you look at that number? I mean, like, now that I know that you're the psychologist and things jump off the page with you.
Right, exactly. I do like the under in the game. 136.5 for a Houston game is a pretty big number. They don't generally approach, like, I'll tell you, the last one, this is really amazing. The last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Houston games, the highest anyone's scored is 57 points. Right. 54, 57, 46, 55, 47. And this is like real teams. This is BYU, Kansas State, West Virginia. These are not just like, Topeka highs. 47, 51, 49, 42, 51. I mean, so I don't know how it's getting to 137. Central Florida can score. Not a look-ahead spot. The Houston's got Utah next. No big deal. So it's not like they're looking ahead. Yeah. Flying to Florida, is that going to get them distracted a little bit? It's the perfect storm because Central Florida can score in the 80s, but that's when Houston really kind of rackets up its defense. It's the lousy teams, maybe they would kind of let their foot off the pedal, but I like the under.
Got another one for you tomorrow. Wisconsin has been a team that I've enjoyed watching play over the years, but because of the totals have been so low. Completely different basketball team. Completely different this year. 2.5 at USC tomorrow. Totals 150.5. We'll have Tommy Lorenzo on in the next segment. He's an LA guy. He might have something with this one. But I don't know. How many times do you got to see a ranked team with a very small favorite number next to them on the road against an unranked team and go, oh yeah, give me Wisconsin in this spot. That's it. Right. This is a wise guy play, right, on USC.
Yeah, exactly. And this kind of goes back to what Colby was talking about. They have a West Coast trip. USC tomorrow, UCLA on Tuesday. This is the first of the two. So what he was suggesting is you play against them first game, then on them second game. And I would think especially if they were to lose the first game. I'm not sure. This is one of those where you really like the guys that really, really, really do this. I'd love to know when they're flying in. I imagine sometime Friday, right? They're not flying in Saturday. So you're flying in Friday, I guess. That's, is one day enough to kind of get you acclimated? It would be a 3 o'clock East Coast start, but noon, obviously, local time. So they flew in and got in Friday night, we'll say. By the time they, do whatever they need to do, all of a sudden, it's
They're
time for
already
bed.
there.
They got to get up early.
They're
USC.
already there. They fly in on Friday, either midday or whatever. Team meeting, team meal, go to sleep, pick you up in the morning, breakfast, shoot around, and go play. So, but they get to stay. I mean, that's a nice little trip. Wisconsin, get out of Wisconsin in January for 5 days. Go out to the LA, play a couple basketball games. We squeeze a beach trip in there. I don't know. You could even go to Santa Anita if you were a horse guy. I know this Tommy Lorenzo guy's a horse guy. He's probably looking at Santa Anita. Maybe we can squeeze a horse play out of him in the next segment. Do you partake in the horses at all? Have you ever?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Used to go to Monticello with the harness racing, the trotters. Oh, yeah. Meadowlands. Oh, absolutely. Tommy Lorenzo, Cover the Weekend podcast coming up next.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. It is InGame Live Game Day here on the grid on this Friday, hour number 2 of our 2-hour extravaganza. Looking for some winners tonight, tomorrow. So why not bring in Tommy Lorenzo, Cover the Weekend podcast. Check it out at your favorite podcast stores, Cover the Weekend podcast. Tommy, Scott, and Dave, how are you tonight, bud?
Doing really well. Excited for the weekend. A lot of good football coming up.
A lot of good football, but we got to ask right away. I mean, you got the LA hat on. I know personally you probably have at least 20 hats that say L and A on them, but there was some good news. I mean, Tilo, their season win total here in Vegas is 105. 105. You're a Dodger guy. You've been a Dodger guy your whole life. Are they going to win over 105 games? I mean,
yeah,
seriously.
it's funny. I saw a tweet or a post on X that said the total went up to 161.5. Pretty funny. Well, I mean, could they win 105? Oh, absolutely. I mean, from a betting standpoint, I think there's about 30 other opportunities to bet a team over or under their win total. Yeah, but it's pretty ridiculous now. You just go down the line. A guy named Blake Snell isn't a bad lefty either. Glass now, Shohei will be back, and you just it's pretty ridiculous. So but baseball, you just don't know. Injuries, other teams pop up. The D-backs in that division are going to be good. So we'll see. But you got to sit back and smile if you're a Dodger fan, given the latest developments for sure.
Would you grab him now at plus 310 to win it all, or just not worth it? You gotta wait.
Oh no! Oh yeah! I think so. Plus 3. I think that number is going to just go lower if they get off to a good start. I did pick them up at 340, but you're going to start seeing the minus 280s pretty soon here. I think Dave would know more about the books covering their liability, but. Yeah, that number is going to drop, but it creates value on other teams if you want to take a look at someone else. So that's the bright side of it. If you want to take a stance against the Dodgers,
let's take a look. Let's go in chronological order in the NFL. Saturday, Houston and Kansas City. A lot of people that we both know have been making a case with me that the Chiefs could lose this game outright. And that it's too many points, and that it's Houston. I personally don't think Houston's going to score that much, and I like the under in the game. You look at that game, when you see it, what do you see, Tilo?
Yeah, I like the under as well, and I see two very good defenses, and I see a Texans defense that's legit. But I agree. I don't know if C.J. Stroud's going to roll in there and lead the Texans up and down the field and get enough points to get a win here. I do think it's a little too many points at 8.5. I think Houston's defense will do enough to keep them at arm's distance. I just don't see the Texans rolling in there and winning just because their offense isn't there yet.
All right. How about Detroit, Washington? Third straight road game for the Washington Commanders that people aren't talking about. Getting 9.5. If you think 8.5 is too much there, what about 9.5 for this contest?
Yeah, as a New York Giants fan, I'm so jealous of their quarterback in that division. He's going to be there for a lot of years. He's really tough. You got to give him credit. Rookie QB, a very well coached team as well. But how you can't really take a stance against the Lions. I did tease this when I found an 8.5 out there, but I think all the 8.5s are pretty much gone now. I think you have 9.5s. So teasing it down to a field goal or under, I think is great. I think that's a solid number. But if I'm going to bet full point spread on this, I still have to go with the Lions. I think Washington, it's just going to be a different environment in Detroit than it was at Tampa last week.
No question about that. You outed yourself being a Giants fan. That's hard enough, but roll to Sunday, Tommy, and you got to watch Saquon and the Eagles play the Rams. And I don't know, man. The last time they played, it was a Sunday night game, and it was in L.A., and it was nice conditions. This is going to be anything but that. It's supposed to be bad weather, outside, cold, blah, 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 blah. Do the Rams have any shot, 1, to cover, or 2, to win that football game?
Maybe to cover, certainly not to win. I just think it's too much to overcome. The trip to Phoenix, back home, back east to the cold weather, that Phillies defense. The Rams have done great with injuries and really not as talented as other teams. And look where they're at in the playoffs now. They won their division. I think they've had a great season, but I think it wraps up at Philly. But 6.5, that Philly offense doesn't look like it's firing on full, all cylinders. You still got Saquon there. He's going to take care of business running the ball. But Jalen Hurts is not the gunslinger. Just protect the ball, let your defense work. So that's why this game may stay closer than that point spread, but I still think Philly will get the win. This is another one where I like the tease. If you can get it down 6.5 now, tease Philly down to a half. I kind of like that as well, because these lines are pretty tight here come NFL playoff time.
Oh, are they?
These lines are very tight. So if you can see a teaser opportunity you're comfortable with, that might be the way to go on a couple of these.
Tommy, obviously we got one more, but I do want to ask you, you're out there. What are they saying about Cooper Kupp? He's got 5 receptions now in his last 4 games combined. What's the deal with him?
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily a hidden injury. I think that has been a point of discussion as to why he's not getting more involved in the offense. I mean, maybe it's time now, but there could be a hidden injury there. That's and he's just going out there and whether you want to call him a decoy or whatever it may be, but the Rams need him. If they're going to get to the Super Bowl or get deeper into these playoffs, they need him as a weapon. And he's pretty much disappeared, and that's going to catch up to him if they don't get him involved.
The last game, Tommy, and you're going to be here in the other segment. So, in fact, I'll just throw it back to Scott, and he'll get us out of here, and we'll talk about that game because it's the game that everybody's talking about. I don't want to give you enough time to talk about that
I don't want to rush you.
Get us home.
The Kupp, I'll just say with Kupp, 1 reception on 1 target against Minnesota, 1 reception on 3 targets. The game before that, 3 against the Jets, and none against the Niners. Very sharp. We'll get Tommy's thoughts on Buffalo and Baltimore. We come back.
This Sunday, the Rams carry the weight of their city when they face the Eagles. Then it's a clash of MVP caliber quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. SportsGrid has you covered all day, starting at 8 a.m. with FST for daily fantasy lineups. Lock in your picks with Pro Football Today and stay dialed in with real-time betting on in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
Talk about it failing and always putting the square peg into the round hole. We're going to run it. We're going to try and play these lower scoring games. They didn't score over 17 points in the 5 straight losses.
There's a chance for the Ravens to exercise every single demon on their way to a Super Bowl. But it also means the path is very difficult and things are only getting started.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
If I were that team and I was the coach, I would have just said, you know what? I'm leaving your ass at home, and you can wait. Well, you can get your own damn plane and fly it to Philadelphia, and then I'll still sit your ass. Zion's got to get himself together on the court, both physically but mentally, by being engaged and being on time.
Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York team has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. In-game live game day here on the grid. Scott and Dave talking with Tommy Lorenzo. Cover the weekend podcast, talking a little NFL football. So we covered the 3, 1 biggie. We buried the lead, Tommy. Buffalo hosting the Baltimore Ravens, 1.5-point home underdogs. Where are we going with this one?
Well, the little power numbers I generate in order to come to a conclusion about what side to take, I have these guys even, completely even. So, next step from there, home field, the cold. Will Josh Allen perform better than, Lamar Jackson. There's a lot of this game is great. On the podcast, I talked about dissecting this game as like Paulie and Goodfellas when he has a little razor when they're in jail and he's slicing the piece of garlic,
slicing the onion. Yeah, garlic.
So this game, there's a lot of point spread trends that go with Baltimore, but then there's a home field and Josh Allen. Is it his time? For me, and I don't think a lot of people are talking about it because it was a big question mark going to the playoffs. I think Buffalo's defense has woken up a little bit. And I know Denver is not the offense that Baltimore is, but I like seeing in the playoffs a defense be dominant, even if it's against a team that's, maybe mediocre. Not that Denver's mediocre, but their offense is not, otherworldly. So right. I think Buffalo's defense will be key here. You've got so many weapons on the Baltimore side that if Buffalo's defense can just make a play or two, allow Josh Allen to, make his runs and make things happen in the cold there, I like the Bills here.
On the podcast, you always cover the weekend, and that includes college football on Saturdays during the season, NFL on Sundays, and we have the championship game on Monday. It's Ohio State, Notre Dame. It looks like a lot of points, Tommy, but you were talking about defense dominant and all this other stuff in these games. Wetzel's an Irish guy, Notre Dame guy. I'm a Big Ten guy. I don't think Notre Dame's going to really be able to score much. What do you think about Monday night college football championship?
I think Ohio State's going to raise the trophy, but I would not underestimate Notre Dame's defense to stay within reach in this game. And really, it's Will Howard, Ohio State quarterback Will Howard. He's done really well in the playoffs, but that's a few games. I still have that little bit of suspicion or worry about Will Howard because he does make some pretty bad mistakes, especially against good passing defenses. Yeah. If you remember his game against Penn State, I believe Nebraska, Michigan, Indiana, he didn't pass for a lot of yards. So in this game, I think Ohio State wins it, but I think Notre Dame's defense, especially that secondary, does enough to disrupt the passing game a little bit. I'm not a big player prop guy. I dip my toes in it a little bit, but Will Howard's right in around 245, 247. I like the under in his passing yards in this game. I think that's a little high. I like the under a lot. 245 and a half, I think the majority of them. So anyhow, I think Ohio State's defense is elite. There's no doubt about it. And I think you're right, Dave. Notre Dame's going to have a heck of a time moving the ball and doing anything offensively. But I think Notre Dame's defense will keep them in the game and probably get a cover here. But Ohio State will raise the trophy at the end, I think.
How about the over-under just jumping a point from 45.5, Tommy, to 46.5? I mean, it's not a big move, but I think most people think this is going to be in the 23-17 type of area, not 30 to 27 where the line would jump up.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that because before we came on air, I was actually taking a look, just making sure lines hadn't moved, and I looked at the over/under. Things have moved around a little bit. Out in Dave's neck of the woods, there's some places where you can get 46.5, and then the sharp book with the mega screen, they're down to 45. So you've got quite a difference there, 1.5 difference at some books. And, obviously the books around the country as well. So you can shop around a little bit. I like the under in this game, but, there's places with 46.5. That's where you go attack it. And you have a sharp book that moved it down to 45. So that should give you a little bit of a clue as to, what the sharps are looking at.
Tommy, have you started the Derby work yet? I know you're a horse guy, and I've sat with you in the book. Have you started it? And Santa Anita's running. Have you started to look at the Kentucky Derby futures at all?
Only, I just glanced at the future odds. What I'm going to start doing, obviously, is start looking at the prep races as they start ramping up here next month. Okay. So it's a little early, but probably after Valentine's Day, I'll have a little bit more of a handle on it.
Tommy, great job, man. I appreciate it. Anytime you want to come on, you're more than welcome. Cover the weekend podcast. Opposite pick coming up next.
This Sunday, the Rams carry the weight of their city when they face the Eagles. Then it's a clash of MVP caliber quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. SportsGrid has you covered all day, starting at 8 a.m. with FST for daily fantasy lineups. Lock in your picks with Pro Football Today and stay dialed in with real-time betting on in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
Talk about it failing and always putting the square peg into the round hole. We're going to run it. We're going to try and play these lower scoring games. They didn't score over 17 points in the 5 straight losses.
There's a chance for the Ravens to exercise every single demon on their way to a Super Bowl. But it also means the path is very difficult and things are only getting started.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
If I were that team and I was the coach, I would have just said, you know what? I'm leaving your ass at home, and you can wait. Well, you can get your own damn plane and fly it to Philadelphia, and then I'll still sit your ass. Zion's got to get himself together on the court, both physically but mentally, by being engaged and being on time.
Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
LLs know what that music means. Time to take out your pad and pencils, get set for the fastest and, more importantly, most profitable 5 minutes in television, Opposite Picks. What are Opposite Picks, you newbies ask? Well, we give you 7 games, 7,000 reasons why we like one side, and then we go opposite. Why? Because despite all the stats, trends, hunches, injury reports, weather reports, systems, and everything else, nobody beats the boys in Vegas. Once again, proving it this season. Our college football / NFL, but mostly college football picks, we're putting that to bed. We finished up 4-3 the last time we were here. Finished up 65 up, 47 down with one push, wow. 18 games over 500. Where would that, by the way, put us in the Vegas against the spread contest? I wonder. I think we'd be collecting some money on that. So
yeah, but they don't do the college contest. It's pros.
It's
5 games. Yeah. But we got.
They should do college.
I'll find us a contest. Well, that'll be good. But you can only pick 5, so get to work.
All right. So. All right, we had 7. So anyway, we're putting that to bed. We're taking our plus 18, putting it on the side. We're going to roll it over into college basketball opposite picks. Here we go. First of our 7-pack, Kentucky laying 2 at home against Alabama. You know, Catholics will tell you, if you don't believe in the Pope, you're going to burn in hell. Jewish, atheists, and all other Kentucky folks will tell you the same thing, although their Pope is Mark Pope. He's taken over for John Calipari, hasn't missed a beat. 14-3 this season. Ranked wins over the Dookie Pukies, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, Gonzaga, Florida, on and on and on. Bama's good, don't get me wrong, but Kentucky, 15-4 last 19 meetings against Alabama. Boy. And I'm getting them close to pick them at home, making 16-4 their last 20. Love Kentucky here. Give me Alabama plus the 2.
Coming out hot. Wetzel's coming out hot, boys. Let's go. Keep it going.
Pick number 2, Kansas laying 15.5 against Kansas State. Dave will tell you this is the most feared game the boys in Vegas will put out all season long. Why?
Wow.
Because since Mr. Sharapan's been in diapers, there's been one constant in college football, one in college basketball. College football, Kansas State beats the snot out of Kansas. College basketball, Kansas returns the favor and beats the snot out of State. And that's been the case forever. 25-4 is Kansas over Kansas State their last 29 meetings, and I'm telling you, they covered damn near every single one of them. Throw in Kansas State stinks this year. They've lost 7 of their last 8. Throw in Kansas is going to be all fired up because they came off a rare loss against Iowa State last time out. This has got 75-55 written all over it. Love Kansas at home here. Give me Kansas State plus the 15.5.
Wetzel, the kids say you're spitting bars. Just keep it going. You're rolling. Go.
Pick number 3, SMU laying 5 only against Miami. 5, the year of the Mustang. You know, SMU football surprises everyone, goes to the college football playoff. College basketball teams in pace to do the same exact thing. 4-2 in the ACC, 13-4 overall. Miami, meanwhile, stinks. They couldn't beat Topeka High, for goodness sakes. They're in last place in the ACC. 4-13 overall. 9 of their 14 losses have come by double digits, including 5 in a row. And all I'm doing is laying 5 here. Are you kidding me? Love SMU here. Give me Miami plus the 5.
Somebody might have made a mistake with that number. Why is that only 5?
I think so. I don't know. But I tell you what, I love that one. Pick number 4, North Carolina laying 10.5 against Stanford. Don't look now, but here come the Tar Heels. They've won 6 of 7, 4 in a row, and they're doing it with defense, believe it or not. After giving up 90 to Florida, they've allowed 74 points or less in all but one of their real Division I games since then. Stanford making that crazy West Coast trip. They lost to Wake on Wednesday. They sat around. They want to get back home. They miss their girlfriends. They miss their moms. Only 2-3 straight up on the road to Stanford, and more importantly, 1-4 against the spread. North Carolina, meanwhile, 7-1 at home, straight up 6-2 against the spread. It's the perfect storm. Love Carolina here. Give me Stanford plus the 10.5. Pick number 5, Florida, laying 11 against Texas. Been a rough week for Texas football fans, I'll tell you that. First, the Longhorns get eliminated by Ohio State in the college football playoffs. Then the Dallas Cowgirls, as we like to call them, lose to rival Washington. They fire Mike McCarthy. Now it's the basketball turn to get beaten down. Overmatched Horns have lost to number 1 Tennessee, number 2 Auburn, and number 13 Texas A&M in their 4-game monster top 10 road trip run here. You know what? Now comes number 5 Florida, which is, oh, by the way, one of the best against the spread teams in the nation at 12-5 against the number this year. Plus, Florida's coming off a rare, and I mean rare, they're 20-3 straight up at home, lost to unranked Missouri their last game. They're going to come out flying and bury this overmatched Texas team. Give me Texas plus the 11.
Boy, oh boy.
Pick number 6. West Virginia plus 6.5 versus Iowa State. What in the world? I know you're asking, are we doing betting on West Virginia after watching them get smoked by Houston while Iowa State was burying Kansas? But, folks, this is the monster letdown spot for the Cyclones and a monster rebound spot for West Virginia, which, don't forget, this season has wins over Arizona, Kansas, Georgetown, Gonzaga, and Oklahoma State. They're a good basketball team. This is the perfect better spot. Let down by one team, bounce back by another. West Virginia, oh, by the way, has beaten Iowa State 8 of their last 10 meetings. West Virginia, oh, by the way, 8-1 at home this season. They got 3 players averaging in double figures. They win this game outright.
Wow.
Give me Iowa State minus the 6.5.
Man, you're rolling tonight. Keep it going.
You got a line for me in this game? You were supposed to give me. You got a line for me with this one? 5.5?
Find the
6?
game. How did you even come up with this? You don't even know how to say the school's name. This is unbelievable.
No matter what the line is, don't worry about it. Don't play on them. Eastern Kentucky against Bellarmine, Bellarmine, whatever the fudge their name is. Who knows? What is a Bellarmine, for goodness sakes? What state is it located in? Who knows?
It's a night.
What's their head coach's name?
What is it? A light?
A night. Look at the picture. The boys did the graphic. Get to the pic.
Any players do you know? Who knows?
No.
What's the nickname? Who knows? What's the difference? You know what I do know, Dave? I know Bellarmine, Bellar Beetle is in last place in the god-awful Atlantic Sun. They're 3-15 straight up, and more importantly, 3-13 against the spread. It's one thing to be bad on the court, but to be bad with the boys in Vegas as well is an accomplishment. 1-8, their last 9 against the spread. They have losses against Kentucky, Arkansas, Indiana, Carolina, Florida. Hey, no shame in that, Scott. You may be saying, check that. It's losses against Northern Kentucky, Central Florida, South Indiana, Western Carolina, and Northern Florida. Who the hell even knew there was a Northern Florida, for goodness sakes? Eastern Kentucky's beaten them 3 straight, all by double digits, and you're probably only going to have to lay about 6.5, maybe. I mean, Bellarmine mind blows. You got to be the biggest dope, bird brain, butt, head, meathead, knucklehead, dope, dork, dunce, insane jerk jackass in the world to put American money on Bellarmine. Mine, whatever it is. Give me the Knights. Give me the Knights of Bellarmine.
Put them all up, boys. Put them all up.
Put them all on.
It's in the football season, but we ain't stopping the opposite pick. Award-winning segment. Give it to him, Wetzel.
There you go. That's right. Roll those babies in. Carry it over. 18 games over 500. We'll get there in college basketball, Dave. What do you think?
I'm out of breath. I mean,
I don't
seriously,
even
we
know
need
what
to
to
take
say.
a break from that.
Where's Cam Stewart when you need him? He's coming up next.
This Sunday, the Rams carry the weight of their city when they face the Eagles. Then it's a clash of MVP caliber quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. SportsGrid has you covered all day, starting at 8 a.m. with FST for daily fantasy lineups. Lock in your picks with Pro Football Today and stay dialed in with real-time betting on InGame Live Game Day, only on SportsGrid.
Talk about it failing and always putting the square peg into the round hole. We're going to run it. We're going to try and play these lower scoring games. They didn't score over 17 points in the 5 straight losses.
There's a chance for the Ravens to exercise every single demon on their way to a Super Bowl. But it also means the path is very difficult and things are only getting started.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
If I were that team and I was the coach, I would have just said, you know what? I'm leaving your ass at home, and you can wait. Well, you can get your own damn plane and fly it to Philadelphia, and then I'll still sit your ass. Zion's got to get himself together on the court, both physically, but mentally by being engaged and being on time.
Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York team has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back InGame Live Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Dave for another 15, 20 minutes. It'll be Cam Stewart, Gabe Morency, top of the hour, talking with Cam here, who joins us all the time here on the Grid. Just a little home nuances, right, Cam? It is funny, as I've told him, I found $20 in a duffel bag, just in a side pocket I didn't even know existed, but I must have put this $20 in there many moons ago, and you do some of the same kind of goofy things, right?
Oh, definitely. That's what I do. But in the winter, I'll usually stuff 200 Canadian in a coat pocket that I use for winter, my favorite coat. Forget about it the whole year, bust out. Hey, there's money. It's amazing. Go fill the tank up, do whatever, go buy a grocery. And Dave, before I go to Vegas, I always get top-notch groceries. All the things I pretend to buy when I'm rich. Sea scallops, all the things. Like everything that's expensive, quality cuts, no flank steak. I drop like 400 at the grocery store. Then I come back. If I get fleeced in Vegas, it's like I won. I got all the food that I have there. Stupid things that gamblers do. But let me tell you a horrible story before I get to the picks. Me and Morency are in a hotel room with listeners. We had a listener party. Juicy, God rest his soul, Blessing, Teddy Savransky, all these guys. But we had like a lot of grifters that stayed in our room. Our buddy bought a party room. So like there's like 16, 20 people sleeping there. Some guys we don't even know. So I had a heater at the blackjack table. I got like $1,200. And I go up to Morency. I go, I don't know some of these people. So I'm going in the side room. I open up the ironing board, take off the cap and roll up $1,200 and put it in the ironing board. I'm flying back to Toronto on the tarmac. I go, I left $1,200 in an ironing board. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
See, Scott, so that's the negative side of being crazy and a gambler. You forget money. So some kid at MGM, hey, mom and dad, he's like, screw it. The cap pops up. Oh, what's in there? Oh, nice roll of money. Like, hey, I hope a kid found it, not a bad drug addict or anything like that.
You didn't call the hotel? Like, you didn't call the hotel and say you did it? You know?
I know, but I was at the time. They go, no. It's like, there's nothing there. Like, it was gone. Like, I have no idea, Scott. Like, I'm just an absolute idiot. Like, I could have been gone before that. Like, I just forgot about it. Somebody could have stole it, saw me do it, whatever. We had, as I said, we had a lot of grifters in the room. So lesson learned, don't put money in ironing boards in Vegas because that you will forget, especially when you're partying and playing blackjack all night. Right, Dave?
Yeah, if you have less, you need to find it or call the hotel within 12 hours because if the housekeeping shift change happens, it's probably
they probably saw it too, like the knob's the wrong way or something. That lady's just going on. I hope, you know what? I don't even mind a housekeeper getting it because they have that's a tough gig. If anybody's going to find it, the housekeeper can have it. But anyway, guys, how are we ever doing tonight? Dave, trivia. So your goaltender, Nedeljkovic, goal and an assist tonight for not people.
What?
Goal and an assist tonight. Yes. See, Dave, I'm paying attention. Who's the last? Tom Barrasso, 1999. Goal and an assist tonight as they beat the Sabres 5-2. Could you believe this stuff? And I also got a betting tip for everybody. Oh, it's more than incredible. I've been doing it for a while. I should have done this all year long. Sabres first period, fade them the rest of the game, take +1.5 money line, other team all the time. You'll win literally 80% of the time. They'll win once in a while. Think about it, because they usually go up 3-0 first period. They're up 1-0 tonight. They always win the first period and gag. Take a look at the stats. Yeah. I'll bring out like the complete numbers, but I have it written all down and stuff. Okay, first period lead, loss. So yeah, these guys suck. Anyway.
We're not going to get a chance to talk to you before now and Monday. Yep. And we've talked a lot about the playoff games already this week. So I want to get your take on the college football championship. We had Tommy Lorenzo on. He does the college football stuff.
Tommy's great.
Colby was on college experience. Yeah, he's great.
Two great guys.
Side total for that game?
Under.
Oh.
And I lean Ohio State, but that might change. I've already bet the under. I got 46 when it came out. Was it 46.5? I think it's 45.5 now. I've already
45.5.
I like the under, and I'm probably going to tease. I know what I might do to 52.5 or 52.5 under Ohio State -1 and Notre Dame plus 14.5 or 15. I'm going to try to hit it on both sides with the under. 40. What's 46.5? 52.5. I guess it would be now.
52.5. Yeah.
I like the 7. I know it was a do 6 point tease. No, 52 is a key number. 28, 24. That's fine for me. I don't mind the juice for that situation. So anyway, guys, I did something different tonight. It's Friday, so I got some props for you for the football games, not just picks. I got props.
Let's go.
I sent it to the guys. So let's rock, guys. Let's give the NFL picks for this week, and we're doing it a little bit different today. So this is what we're going to do. I don't know if we're going to start with the games or props, but I'll give you the props, and hopefully we have a board for this. But I'm going to start with Pacheco. Pacheco's my guy. I think they've been saving him to get healthy in this game for Kansas City. Over 41.5 rushing yards and a touchdown. I found one book actually at plus 140, but I like Pacheco for a touchdown at a plus number. Saquon Barkley, how do you beat the Rams? You pound the rock and keep their offense off the field. 20.5 carries over. James Cook. Are people watching football? This guy, 52.5, he can get it on one run. I think he goes absolutely wild. I think the Bills can run in those conditions. And too low. This is the game for Amari Cooper. His receptions is 1.5. 22.5 receiving yards. I like low-hanging fruit and receivers that get no respect, Dave. Those are things that I look at. Also, an additional Joe Mixon, plus 140, anytime touchdown. And Austin Eckler, over 3.5 receptions, plus 115. Those are things that I'm doing right now. Now let's take a look at the games, fellas. Houston, that's opposite picks. I really believe Houston can hang in this game. Kansas City, they don't like to blow out people. I think Houston lingers and lingers and lingers. As I told you, I had a dream. And it was not Tua going to the Lions. I told you about that one. Not true. But Bucker kicking a game-winning field goal and Kansas City winning by 2. Give me the Houston Texans plus 8.5. I think they hang in this game. I like their defense. Also, Washington, back and forth, plus 9.5. I like the Washington Commanders. These guys have been great to me. I actually got one of our listeners on another show. Dave, he bought me a Daniels jersey. I got a Washington Commanders jersey.
Nice.
All they do is come through for me. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I'm wearing my Carolina or Seahawks jerseys. No way. It's Washington all the time. The only team that puts money in my pocket. And we're going with the Buffalo Bills. I think they're disrespected at plus 1.5. And Scott, I'm on your train now. I switched off Rams. I like Eagles. And I like a 7-point teaser. Eagles pick 'em. Bills plus 7.5. Let's roll. Actually, a 6-point teaser. Low juice. 7.5 Bills. Eagles pick. Let's roll, guys. Enjoy the football.
There you go. Not bad. Not bad, Cam. Cam and Gabe, top of the hour over the next 3. Good luck with all the picks, Cam. Good job, man.
I got more.
This Sunday, the Rams carry the weight of their city when they face the Eagles. Then it's a clash of MVP caliber quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. SportsGrid has you covered all day, starting at 8 a.m. with FST for daily fantasy lineups. Lock in your picks with Pro Football Today and stay dialed in with real-time betting on InGame Live Game Day, only on SportsGrid.
Talk about it failing and always putting the square peg into the round hole. We're going to run it. We're going to try and play these lower scoring games. They didn't score over 17 points in the 5 straight losses.
There's a chance for the Ravens to exercise every single demon on their way to a Super Bowl. But it also means the path is very difficult and things are only getting started.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
If I were that team and I was the coach, I would have just said, you know what? I'm leaving your ass at home, and you can wait. Well, you can get your own damn plane and fly it to Philadelphia, and then I'll still sit your ass. Zion's got to get himself together on the court, both physically, but mentally by being engaged and being on time.
Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back InGame Live. Game day here on the grid. Wrapping up shop. Still 5 minutes or so, though, so we'll give a few more picks out here. We'll check our SGP and our, more importantly, Black Cloud play of the day. Yeah, I tell you, the Charlotte Hornets, 112-105. Still 7 minutes left. crazy high-scoring game, but somehow or another they're able to shoot the basketball tonight. I don't get it, Dave. So that doesn't look good. Not over by any stretch, but not looking good. And then San Antonio, Memphis actually just got underway. Let me throw. I'll throw you the plays I like football-wise, and then one trend, because I got 1,000 of them on my website if you want to go. But
Okay.
I'm going to go with Kansas City. You know
Okay.
why? They were a 3.5-point home favorite a month ago. Now it's the postseason. Now it's 8.5. I mean, literally 3.5 at home against Houston. They won convincingly. I'm going to do it. Andy Reid, 32-7 straight up, 24-15 against the spread with an extra week of prep, which he has here. He's really had 2 weeks. They're going to win. I'm going to go with Detroit. I'm going to lay the big wood. Third straight road game for the Washington Commander, Redskin Potatoes, as we like to call them on the podcast. That's very tough. And it's really 3 road games going back to Washington, Dallas, Tampa Bay, Detroit. They're going to be gassed. Love Philadelphia. You know that. We talked about that a lot, just with the back and forth for the Rams. And then I do like Baltimore. I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson. He's had his faults. He's got some exercise, he's got some demons to exercise in the postseason. He's not going to do it by just winning here. Same thing with Josh Allen, but I think Baltimore's the better team. They crushed them the first time they played. I'm going Baltimore. And I will tell you, best prop, over 19.5 attempts for Derrick Henry. There's no way in the world he's not getting 20 carries in frigid temperatures where it's going to be difficult to throw. I'm very surprised. They have not lost a football game this year, David, which he's had 20 carries. So I love that one.
Okay. All right. I will say I like Kansas City as well. I think it's going to be close for the first half, and then somehow Kansas City is going to do what they do and cover the spread. I give Washington a shot because of the aggressive nature of Dan Quinn and literally playing on house money. Sometimes that goes well, sometimes it does not. I think they cover the spread, got a shot to anyway. I don't think they have a shot at winning the game. Detroit is going to the NFC Championship. Sunday, you have hammered it into my head all week that the Eagles are going to win and cover, and everything is going to go bad for the Rams. I like the game under. I really do, which would want me to say that like the Eagles are going to win, but the Rams are going to cover. It hasn't happened yet in the playoffs where the spreads mattered. The dogs have won. If the favorites won, they've covered the spread. I think we get our first one. It falls in the middle. I think Eagles win and Rams cover. Last one, I'm against you. I have heard enough. Plus, it's nighttime in Pittsburgh behind me. I'm good not talking about Baltimore no more. I don't want to see Baltimore no more. But Baltimore probably has the best chance to go to Kansas City and win. So if you have Kansas City Chiefs fatigue and all that, that's fine. Like, I think you want Baltimore to win. But this one has every makings of ever like a game that will define a career, at least while you're still playing. Josh Allen's going to win this game. The Bills have to win this game. So, and whether that means they have to win, they will win. I take the Bills. So it's going to be a fun weekend. It's going to be great. How about Monday night? Because we don't do a show Monday night. So if I see you here on the grid over the weekend, which I might, so stay ready for that. Who's winning Monday night? Covering the spread. Huh?
Reluctantly, I'll put my heart aside and go with Ohio State. The only good thing is, like, I haven't heard anyone say Notre Dame. So it's better to be on the side of Vegas than the side of, the public, right? But obviously rooting. Yeah, but I'm going Ohio State. You taking Notre Dame?
Okay. Hell no. No way.
Okay.
Their team total under. No way. That team total, no chance. Ohio State's going to crush them. They're going to crush them. All that Buckeye BS nonstop.
Right,
Ryan Day, Ohio versus the world. What?
Why isn't FanDuel allowing me to put in a 10-point tease 2 NFL games in the college football game?
You're doing it wrong. I'm convinced it's user error. You're doing it wrong.
No, it's not. It is not. Let's go, Eagles. That's the big play.